Hi, my name is Christina Trostel and this is my model Kelly Meeks. We're going to do an updo on her today that a lot of brides have been asking for and has been really popular lately. We're going to keep it classic, yet we're going to throw in some modern elements into it so it stays fresh and new and doesn't look dated. We're going to incorporate some braids and then some really nice loose messy texture, romantic feeling, very now and very wearable, not overdone or fussy. What I've prepped Kelly's hair with, first of all, is Elixir Ultime for weightless shine and moisture. Then we put in the Cement Thermique for thermal protection and smoothing of the surface of her hair so that it stays nice and shiny and pretty. Then we used some mousse bouffant everywhere on her root. Structure with that weight, volume, and body, just really good workable volume. Then I added in Powder Bluff for additional volume, texture, and body. Each section that I curl, I'm going to spray with Spray Porté first, soft define texture and hold. And that's going to really, again, help smooth the hair cuticle and give us a lot of structure within our updo. So I'm going to start curling. So right now what I'm doing, setting Kelly's hair, is really paying attention to how I want this updo to look at the end and not at the end when I'm there and going, oh, I should have curled it this way. So I'm really paying attention to where my curls are and what direction they're going. So I want some volume and body in the crown. So I'm coming down here and doing regular sort of horizontal curling sections to get the most volume off the top of her head here. In the front, what I did is I curled everything going one direction, differently from how I did it here, but curling this way for maximum texture when it comes back this way. When I drop down below here, I'm just going to do a regular vertical curl because I want that texture to live back here in the updo. So I think that's one of the most important things when you're doing an updo is paying attention at the very beginning so at the end you're not caught unawares. So I'm just continuing to work on my vertical curls. This is the texture that I want for the lower part of the updo back here. Really important to my updo that this is the texture that I get all the way around this part of the head and that it's consistent and even. I'm making sure that when I spray the Spray Porté in, that I'm getting it evenly all the way down the hair shaft from the root down to the tip and really brushing that in well, so that I have it everywhere where I need it to be for the maximum amount of hold and flexibility and just structure ultimately that I'm going to need. So we're incorporating two braids, one on each side, into our updo because this is something a lot of people are asking for. It is very trendy. But because we're going for a more classic look, this is only going to be one aspect of the updo, but it is going to add a visual point of interest. So I'm putting a ponytail in midway between the crown and the nape, and this is going to be the focal point for the back of the updo. Pull this out a little bit above the ponytail for a little bit extra volume there and texture. And then I'm going to use all of the curls down here, just winding it around. And I'm going to use that curl, I'm going to use that texture. Look how pretty that is. And we're going to incorporate that as our messy bun in the back. So as I'm winding the hair around the bun back here, I'm using the Lock Dentelle as my working spray. And it's a really great spray to use while you're working on your updo because it doesn't get powdery, it doesn't flake, it's got a little bit of shine and just really nice hold that gives me the flexibility to get things where I need it to be but still work with it and move it. I'm really loving the shape of how this is looking right now, so I'm pretty much going to stop right here and let that be. Moving into the top of the updo, I'm starting to bring down these curls one at a time. making sure I've got the right amount of volume coming off the back of the head. And I'm just gonna start kind of laying them to the side to create this really beautiful profile. Working one at a time, letting the texture guide me to where it wants to be, where I need it to be, not fighting it too much. So again, just working, bringing back my top and my sides, getting a really beautiful profile, making sure the volume is symmetrical, working with the existing texture that I have put in, and making sure not to hide any of this really prettiness back here. Just letting the texture tell me where it wants to be. And again, symmetry really important. So taking a step back and looking at this from all angles to make sure it's right. So again, just working on bringing back the top and the sides and making sure that we have really symmetrical volume. Really important to have that symmetry. And that we're not creating any holes. Again, still using my locked-on towel for control. And just letting the hair tell us sort of where it wants to be, not fighting it too much. Just placing this hair over and around the bun in the back. Twisting a little bit so we maintain that texture. So now we're moving on to the front part, which is sometimes the most important part because this is what the client sees in the mirror. So we're going to take our time. I'm just going to pull this back and see where we can get that really nice, loose, soft texture up here. We're going to make sure that this front part is in the right before we start pinning and spraying. Focal point. And then I'm going to start spraying the front, again with my locked-on towel. And just start moving this around a little bit until it's perfectly the way that I want it. You know, loose enough, but with enough structure to last. Get some nice pieciness and some nice separation. That's going to help it keep looking loose and casual, but done. So the last thing we're going to do is incorporate the braid into the updo. And I'm just going to pull it apart so it has a more organic, lived-in, soft, pretty feel, so it also matches the rest of the texture. We don't want it to be too tight and too braided because that just won't look as nice. It won't match everything else that we've got going on. It's just a little prettier that way. Just pinching and pulling out this. So, and then I'm just going to wrap it around the back piece here and secure it with some bobby pins. So now we're just finalizing things and kind of putting finishing touches on. So for that I picked up my Lock Couture, and that's going to give us setting and maximum hold throughout the day. And basically what I'm doing now is all a design choice. So I'm choosing to let the softness stay around her face. She has these natural wispies that are happening, and because our overall look and feel is soft and romantic and loose, I'm going to go ahead and let that stay. Making sure that we don't have too many flyaways. I mean, it does need to be organic and loose, but at the same time, it needs to be pulled together and look finished and polished. Just making sure to tuck in any little errant pieces of hair that aren't fitting our overall silhouette. So this is our final look. The last thing I'm going to do is spray some gloss appeal over that everywhere, just to give it that added shine and prettiness. It doesn't hit every single part of the hair, which is great. So some of it is matte and it recedes and the shiny parts come out. So you can really see all of the texture, all of the different colors in her hair.